what's up guys? It's your boy Serge. So let's talk about Spectre. This thing is really thin. It's thin, but it also has an i5 processor. It's got the latest ports, 3 USB-Cs, it's all you'd ever need. A pretty good backlit keyboard with gold accents. And actually this thing is even a gaming machine, believe it or not. Let's take a look at my current setup here. I'm going to show you the good and bad about this particular laptop. And we're going to decide if this thing is right for you guys. Let's take a look. So recently HP redid their box art and it looks a lot more premium. We have the old HP logo on the back. We have the new HP logos on the sides and on the front. I actually think it looks pretty sharp. They did a nice job. Pop the box off and here we have our laptop. This year we've seen a lot of gold laptops and just a lot of gold phones. This laptop appears to be following the same trend. HP did decide to include a sleeve. I thought this was a pretty nice addition, although I felt like the sleeve was somewhat low quality. Another rather nice addition was to include a microfiber cloth. This was also kind of smart because the laptop actually is a fingerprint magnet. Even after washing my hands, after touching the metal rims, left some serious smudge on there. HP has made major strides with their charging cords. This one here has much better quality, feels very sturdy, rugged, and it's also USB-C, which means it's going to last a lot longer and won't break. Actually has a nice pleasant little surprise. You can shorten it or lengthen it with special custom cords that you can plug in. Overall, it looks clean, it looks minimalist, and it matches the design quite well. Here we have a USB to USB-C dongle. I thought this was a good addition, however I felt like the quality was kind of poor looking with the metal stitching coming out from the side. Overall, the laptop itself though is really nice and metallic. It was cold to the touch, very thin design. You're really not going to find something like this anywhere else. Since it's sporting the latest technologies like the 3 USB-Cs, you're basically getting a laptop that's going to be future-proofed, which is quite nice. With USB-C you can do video, data transfer, and even audio, as well as charging. On the rear of the laptop, you got 3 rubber feet and you have 2 intakes for air and exhaust. It's actually a quite impressive design. This allows them to put the i5 and i7 CPUs in there, because normally you would not be able to do that without this particular design. Here I'm checking the screen flex, and it appears that the screen's actually pretty sturdy. It's got a little bit of a wobble to it, but it actually is on par with the MacBooks. The hinge is actually one of the distinguishing features of this laptop. It kind of stunned me the first time I saw it, kind of like the Caterpillar hinge on the Surface Book. You're really just not expecting this like little bubble to come out from the side. I thought it was a really interesting addition, especially because it tucks away when you close it, which is quite interesting. I was actually pretty impressed with the keyboard. I wasn't expecting much key travel, but it turns out that you're getting about 2 times more key travel than the 12-inch MacBook, which is quite surprising because that was one of my daily drivers for about 6 months. I also really like the gold accents on the side. They tend to glow at night, and the backlight keys are just really nice to use at night. One of my biggest disappointments was the trackpad size. The software on the trackpad is really good, but why didn't they make the actual size of it bigger? There's plenty of room there. They could have easily added it, but for whatever reason they decided not to. It must have been some kind of design limitation. If you look closely, I can do precision scrolling, and overall the trackpad itself, the software behind it is really good. I just wish they upped the hardware a bit and made it bigger. My second disappointment was the speakers. They don't get very loud and they do sound a bit tinny. If you were to compare this to the 12-inch MacBook, it would literally not even compare. But where the 12-inch MacBook falls short is its processor. The Core M, it gets completely blown out of the water by an i5 or i7 CPU. You can't do 1080p editing on a Core M, but on an i5 you can. So this laptop is substantially stronger. It's sturdy, it's powerful, it doesn't really have any other flaws. Let's take a look at the gaming. So here's my current gaming setup. I have a USB Ethernet hub. This allows me to get much faster data transfer speeds and much better online gaming abilities. I got myself a nice little hard drive, a 1 terabyte for my gaming, and I even have myself a nice wireless mouse that I actually picked up for about 25 bucks. It's quite impressive. I did not expect to be able to get a good mouse for 25 bucks. So you're wondering why I recommend Ethernet? Well, simply because the speeds are almost 2 to 3 times faster. Take a look. With dongle, it's 80 megabits per second. Without it, you're getting about 35. You could also do 2 USB-C dongles instead if you don't have the Ethernet hub. Our first game up is going to be League of Legends. You can actually play this game on max graphics and get about a good 35 FPS. I didn't experience any stuttering while playing this game, and I ended up winning that match, which was pretty awesome. Counter-Strike also ran pretty decent. I didn't freeze up. I experienced a couple stutters here and there, but after changing my graphics to all medium, running at 1280 by 800, I was able to achieve pretty good playable frame rates of about 60 to 40. Occasionally, I did get it to drop to about 35 FPS, but that's usually when you're like in an intense firefight. And as long as you have 30 FPS, I think you can enjoy Counter-Strike pretty good. The first time I ran Team Fortress 2, I was actually able to get the whole computer to freeze, and I had to do a hard reset on it. Take a look here. Initially, the performance is good. I'm able to shoot at the engineer with the sniper, and then I actually end up getting sniped. But later on, take a look at what happens here. I freeze up, and straight up, I can't quit the game. I can't even restart Explorer. I literally just have to restart the computer, which really sucked. However, I would like to note that I was not able to recreate that problem after the first time. Dota 2 runs pretty good on medium graphics. You can also do 1920 by 1080p, and it's actually fairly enjoyable. For whatever reason, games on Battle.net, like Blizzard games, don't seem to run very good. I wasn't able to achieve playable frame rates on World of Warcraft, quite simply because even at the beginning stages of the game, I'm only getting about 25 to 30 FPS. Imagine if there's 50 players in the same area. The computer would lag up significantly. Even on low everything, the game is not considered playable on the Spectre. Diablo 3 also had some issues. Even on lowest graphics, I was getting about 30 something FPS. I'd say Diablo 2 is playable, just not World of Warcraft. Starcraft 2 had some serious lag issues. With only about 5 units on the screen, I averaged at about 30 to 32 FPS. Right now it's a little bit better, but when you get into a firefight, the FPS seriously drops. The only way you're going to play Starcraft 2 is on low everything. At 800 by 600, Grand Theft Auto is playable, but remember, you will have to keep everything low, and you can actually achieve pretty good, solid 30 FPS playable frame rates. Something to do with how the drivers are set up. You can actually enjoy the game. Unfortunately, the graphics will be low, but this is still a capable game machine. So overall, I was pretty impressed with this particular laptop. Where else are you going to find this many USB-C ports with an i5 processor and also have it be this thin? It's just not something that you'll run into too often. My favorite laptops was the 12-inch Macbook. I really wished it had a second port. Well, guess what? This one has 3. So if you were somebody that was thinking about getting the 12-inch MacBook, this could be a viable alternative. My biggest disappointments were the small trackpad. However, the software was good. The hardware was probably not as good because they could have made it bigger if they just designed it bigger. I guess it was a design limitation. They chose not to do it, which is odd because the Spectre X360 has a massive trackpad. They found a way to do that, and same thing with the HP Envy, but they just didn't do it on the Spectre. I think it's really impressive, the new cooling system they installed. Without it, I don't think you'd be able to have an i5 or an i7 processor in there. Having said that, this blows any machine with a Core M just straight out of the water. Me personally, I would have preferred the 12-inch MacBook because it has superior speakers, and the Core M for me seems like it can do just about everything. But when you compare it to the i5 or the i7, it really does have much better performance. So even for gaming, for video editing tasks, you could do 1080p edits pretty good. On a Core M, forget about it. Thanks for watching, and if you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to comment below. I'll reply to you or somebody else will. Have an open discussion. Would you guys get this, or would you get the 12-inch MacBook? Are you maybe checking out other thin Ultrabook laptops? To me, this is kind of like an ultra
Ultrabook laptop, because when Ultrabooks came out, they were the thinnest laptop. Now we have something that's even thinner. It's almost like the ultra thin, netbook, but nobody liked netbooks. Those things were just too slow. And now we're getting really good performance in razor thin like laptops. I mean, it's exactly what I want. Now what I really want to see is I want to see maybe, a GTX 960M in that thing, and also have it be that thin. That would be a killer laptop, because trust me, everybody wants this thing to be a gaming laptop and also a thin one as well. That's why the Razer company is doing really well. So if you guys haven't heard about Razer, check them out because their products are great. And if you haven't already, just go ahead and push that subscribe button. If you like the video, obviously like it, but definitely looking to get some more subscribers. So if you watched this far, I think you're somebody who should definitely stick around. Cheers, guys.